Dearly beloved, tonight we celebrate the ascension of our Lord Jesus Christ into heaven. He who never ceased dwelling there according to his divine nature today dwells there also in his human nature. Among all the mysteries of our Lord, this mystery is, in a certain sense, the most perfectly the mystery of the present. Although all of his other mysteries affect us now because they were the actions not of a mere man but of God, nevertheless, the Ascension is the way in which Christ now lives and reigns. Today's feast is above all a feast of triumph. The one who was rejected, ridiculed, flogged, and crucified today ascends above the heavens in his human nature to reign over heaven and earth, angels and men. And because we are one with him in grace, it is also a triumph for us. For he is our head and we are his body. And just as a natural body cannot be separated from its head and live, so the mystical body will follow where its head is gone. There is also a certain yearning that occurs on the part of our Lord, for he does not wish to be incomplete. Although he exists quite independently of our existence and has no need of us, he has chosen to be one with us. And that means that his ascension is not fully realized until we ascend with him. We know that we can do nothing about the ascent of our bodies. Even Our Lady was assumed into heaven, not ascended. Only the Lord can ascend. But his ascension makes it possible for us to ascend in our mind and heart. And that is exactly what we prayed for in the opening collect. We said, as we believe that our Redeemer today ascended the heavens, so may we dwell there in our minds. But thus we prayed, though we most likely have our minds in heaven about as often as the apostles did before the ascension. Just before our Lord left this earth in his body, they asked him when he was going to restore the kingdom of Israel. We don't ask for that sort of thing, but we may ask for other things, such as, Lord, will you at this time make my life fall into place? Lord, at this time will you convert this nation back to you? Lord, at this time will you fix the church? That is why the angels rebuke the apostles. They say, men of Galilee, why do you stand here looking up into heaven? It makes perfect sense to watch a loved one leave. We follow our friend walking home with our eyes and our wave. We watch the car of our spouse, our children, or our siblings as it goes down the street. We keep our eyes fixed there for as long as seems sensible, or perhaps even longer. And to do so is a sign of love. So why do the angels rebuke the apostles? They are telling them and us that the eyes of the heart are more important than the eyes of the body. The apostles were looking in the right place, but by way of their question a few minutes earlier, they had shown that their heart was not where the Lord was. Their heart was on earth. It is the same in human love. The eyes don't always indicate where the heart is. Someone can look us right in the eye, but we know that they're not listening. Their heart is somewhere else. And it can also be the same in our faith, our prayer, even our worship. We look the right way, at the Bible or at the Fathers, at the church or at the altar, but our heart is somewhere else. Tonight the angels rebuke us for our worldliness, for all the times when we choose to dwell on this earth, in our minds and our hearts, when we know that we should be in heaven instead. It is not a matter of neglecting our duties. We all have things that fill up our days, and we have so many worries and concerns. But where are the eyes of our heart? Are they on our Lord in heaven, or are they here on this earth? The apostles cared too much about this world. By their question to Christ, they showed where their hearts were stuck here. Our Lord might have said to them, did you not hear me when I said my kingdom was not of this world? Why then do you expect it to be here and now? My kingdom is wherever I am, and wherever I am worshipped and glorified and honored. But it is fully realized only in heaven. The true life of a Christian is a life that takes this message to heart. There will always be tension in our lives. It is right that our eyes are on this earth, because we have responsibilities. We have persons to care for and to love. But the Christian ceases to be a Christian when he gives up on attention and puts his eyes and his heart completely on this earth. That is what is called secularism. It has infected so many Christian sects, and now it is infecting the church also. It is the duty of our Pope and bishops to warn and guard and vaccinate against this infection in the church as a whole. But it is our duty to make sure it also doesn't infect our hearts. And the sure sign that we have this disease is that we stop thinking of heaven. We stop having supernatural thoughts, and we forget about the mystery of the Ascension. Our Lord says in the Sermon on the Mount, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Our treasure is Jesus. He is the riches given to us by the Father, and He it is who has spilled out His precious blood for our lives, our supernatural and grace-filled lives. The angels warn us, as they did the apostles, to put our hearts where they ought to be, and to align our spiritual eyes with our bodily eyes. And St. Paul explains what that means. He says in Philippians, "To me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. If it is to be life in the flesh, that means fruitful labor. Yet which I shall choose I cannot tell. I am hard pressed between the two. My desire is to depart and be with Christ, for that is far better." These are the words of a man who had his heart fixed in heaven and his eyes on this earth. But he was always yearning for the day when both his eyes and his heart would look on Christ and would never fall away again. So tonight, let us consider this holy mystery of our Lord's Ascension in relation to our lives now. Where He has gone, we are sure to follow, but we must place our hearts in heaven during this life in order to do so. We must lift them up not only at Mass, but at all times. Whenever you have a moment of quiet or a moment of leisure to yourself, even if it's a brief moment, place your heart in heaven. Close your eyes and in your mind look upon the face of Christ and ask Him to increase the desire in your heart to be with Him. Love silence and cultivate it, because silence is how the heart learns to see. And then the angels will not scold us, but they will praise us. And they will say, "These are they who have come out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. They are before the throne of God and serve Him day and night within His temple. And He who sits upon the throne will shelter them with His presence. He will guide them to springs of living water, and He will wipe every tear from their eyes."